My daughter Casey, teen female, worked and saved up money for around a year to afford a better car than we could buy her with our family budget. My other daughter, Alana, teen female, has ADHD, recently got her driver's license and asked to drive Casey's car. Casey allowed it, but Alana ended up having a bad accident around 6 months ago, which basically rendered the car unusable. The insurance payout wasn't nearly enough to cover the replacement, and with Alana's medical bills from the accident, thankfully there was no permanent damage, just a broken arm and leg, there was no way we could afford to replace Casey's car immediately. Alana was very apologetic to Casey, and so were we since we couldn't afford to replace her car. Casey didn't accept our apology and has been basically avoiding us, skipping family dinners and pretty much pretending that her mom, Alana, and I don't exist, and only talks to us if she needs a form signed for her school. I begged her to come to a family therapy session, and she eventually relented, but with the condition that Alana wouldn't be present. In the therapy session, she told us that she won't be resuming a relationship with us until we replace her car, which realistically won't be until next year. When the therapist asked how she expected us to do that, Casey said we could just make Alana work to earn the money. The issue is that Alana has severe ADHD, and already has trouble managing her schoolwork. I'm worried that making her work to earn the money will harm her grades and have significant ramifications for her future. Casey said, "Well, she should have thought about that before destroying my car. I don't care, I'm not going to speak to any of you unless I have my car replaced." I responded that she was free to avoid speaking to me for as long as she wanted to, but I'm not going to permanently harm her sister's future to get her a car earlier. My wife agrees with me that we need to stand firm on our position, but is also genuinely afraid of Casey never speaking to her ever again. I understand that her car was ruined, but as a parent I need to look out for all my children, not just one. I also don't want to see the precedent that emotional blackmail will work even if what you're asking for is unreasonable. Am I the idiot for telling my daughter I won't budge even if she never speaks to me again? You are the idiot. Casey saved for an entire year in order to buy that car, Alana destroyed it, and somehow you think Casey is in the wrong for demanding that Alana takes responsibility for her actions. You're only looking out for one child, and that's Alana. If she has such severe ADHD that she sucks at school and can't apparently work, why did you let her drive? If her ADHD is that severe, perhaps she shouldn't be driving anyway. Anyone wondering how much convincing it took for Casey to let Alana drive her car? Yeah, I have the feeling the parents stepped in and made her give Alana the keys, and they spent that insurance money on Alana's medical bills, 100% because it's family. This sounds a lot like they're coddling the younger one. If she has such severe ADHD, why did they even allow her to get in the car and drive? If she can't hold down a job, how was she even allowed on what's basically a killing machine with wheels? A lot doesn't add up here, and I'd be making a fair guess that the younger daughter is a golden child and the older one is a scapegoat. OP, don't be surprised when your oldest moves out and goes no contact with you and your entire family. I hope OP is ready. They're going to coddle Alana and she'll never get a job or support herself. They will. And Casey will get sick and tired of being ignored and treated badly and neglected so they can spoil Alana. And one day OP will need help with the surgery, or need someone to take care of OP financially or physically, and Alana won't do it because they spoiled her, and Casey will tell them to go away and lie in the beds they made. My sister, 33 female, and I, 29 female, are both expecting our first baby. My sister is super in love with vintage names and for about a decade has talked everyone's ear off about how much she wants to have babies with these names. I know her top 3 names for boys and girls are Edith, Martha, Audrey for girls, and Alan, Harold, Stanley for boys. I'm not sure which of these names my future niece or nephew will get, but I know they're still my sister's top choices. My husband and I are not going for vintage names or classic names. We chose Lyric, which is pretty modern and not super common. My sister doesn't know the name yet, but she is aware of some names we chose not to use. We chose not to use names that could be difficult to spell or say, based on the spelling, and she was upset we didn't have any vintage names on there. She made all these suggestions, and I told her thanks, but we had a different type of name we wanted. She asked why we didn't want to have the cousins match styles, and she said how cute it would be to have 2 little cousins with matching old people names. She had this idea of doing this photo shoot when the babies are born, when we dressed them like grannies and grandpas, and she said the old names would make everything so much more perfect. I stopped talking about it when she didn't take no for an answer. I got lists of vintage names, sent articles on how vintage names are in style right now. I ignored it all. She even sent me Instagram and TikTok accounts where influencers have babies with these vintage names, and she's like, "Oh, look, how cute. Doesn't this name sound so sweet for this little baby? Doesn't the vintage name add to the cuteness?" I didn't engage or buy into any of it. Now my sister is crying and saying I'm ruining this, and she commented like she can't use a vintage name for her baby because we're not. I told her just because I'm not giving my daughter a vintage name, it doesn't mean she can't use a vintage name for her baby. I pointed out they are two separate people with different parents and don't need to match. She cried it won't be the same, and why can't I see how dismissive my comment is? Am I the idiot? She had this idea of doing this photo shoot when the babies are born where we dress them like grannies and grandpas, and she said the old names would make everything so much more perfect. Excuse me, what? Children aren't fashion accessories. What is wrong with your sister? To be so insistent that you follow her plan to fulfill her dream is insane. Your world does not revolve around her. You can only stand your ground and let her be disappointed when you name your baby the name you and your husband want. Why aren't I the centre of the world? Why won't you just do what I want you to do? Why won't you listen to me? Not the idiot. She sounds exhausting. Is your sister like this about everything, or is this baby name freak out an aberration for her? Good luck with that. You are the idiot if you name your kid Lyric. I swear some people seem to want their kids to get ripped apart socially through life. Did you forget how hard school was for the odd one out? Lyric isn't a great name. That kid for sure will be bullied for that name. We chose a name that's not super popular. Mum, there's a reason for that. Get a grip. Honestly, I feel sorry for some of the names people give their kids. In 20 years, they will seem ridiculous. I knew a Teddy. Not Theodore or Ted. Teddy. Poor man at 50 years old trying to go by Ted, and all of his paperwork says Teddy. Everyone's the idiot. Your sister doesn't get a vote on the name of your child. That is for you and your husband to decide. And Lyric is just ridiculous. I'm a father to 4 daughters. Olivia, age 19, Christine, teen, Eliza, teen, and Aria, my youngest tween. Their mom and I divorced 6 years ago. Now I'm getting married to my fiancée Daniela soon. Daniela is the sweetest woman I've ever met. She's kind, caring, and selfless. She loves my daughters a lot, but my daughters at first didn't accept her, and it's caused so much tension. Quite frankly, the girls at the beginning were outright aggressive towards her. They openly disliked her and fought against her in many ways, including saying offensive things to her and vandalizing some of her stuff. There was so much struggle, and I honestly didn't think there would be a solution for it. I even contemplated breaking up with Daniela because I didn't want her to get any more affected by what my daughters were doing. Suddenly, things had shifted and my daughters had a change of heart. They made a collective decision to mend their relationship with Daniela, and they became really friendly and respectful toward her. It was strange, let me tell you, especially when my youngest daughter, Aria, started clinging on to Daniela and spending most of her time with her. Notice that this change took place a couple of months ago. I immediately got engaged to Daniela and we decided to get married at the end of next month, October. Everything was going pretty well. I was busy with the wedding arrangements and stuff. I got a text message from my ex-wife telling me that the girls were planning to spill red wine on Daniela's dress at the wedding. I was shocked. I asked how true this was, and she said she heard them plan the whole thing. Moreover, my sister was in on it too and agreed to help them. I asked if she had any idea why, but she didn't respond. I was furious and also very disappointed not knowing how I could even tell Daniela about it when Daniela is currently helping them pick dresses for the wedding and helping them pay as well. It felt like an awful betrayal. I didn't know what to do. I just decided to ban them from coming. I confronted the 4 of them and they denied at first. Then Eliza confessed but said it was intended as a prank and that it was Christine's idea. Christine yelled at her and denied her involvement entirely. The girls started yelling at each other, then began crying when I told them they're not allowed at the wedding. Olivia said that I'd be ruining their relationship with Daniela if I don't let them attend on the most important day of her life. Christine promised they won't do it and suggested that I don't tell Daniela and just let them come to preserve the relationship, and I decided to consider it. Well, yesterday my ex-wife sent a voice message telling me the girls lied and were still going to do it and warned me to be careful. This time I blew up and told them that it was over, that they were banned from the wedding and that it was non-negotiable. They tried to argue, deny and beg, but I refused to hear it. I was feeling so much anger and hurt. They went on to stay with their aunt after I berated her on the phone and she denied it. I haven't told Daniela, but my side of the family knew and they opposed my decision, saying I'd turn this wedding into a joke if my girls are absent from it. My father and mother said the girls are remorseful and promised they won't do it, but I don't trust them after what happened. My parents demanded that the girls be allowed to come and said that it will negatively affect my relationship with the girls because they said the girls won't forget I stopped them from being a part of a special event and memory. Am I the idiot for giving them another chance to attend after they lied? 4 children and your sister all adamantly opposed to your fiancé? There's absolutely something missing from your story. Was she your affair partner? Has she treated them like garbage when you're not around? This doesn't just happen organically. Your lack of curiosity about this is astonishing. You are the idiot. He doesn't mention their age either. Not always a factor and total speculation, but say he's 50, cheated and is with a 20-year-old, etc. I agree something is missing. If anything, young girls adore and look up to female role models. It's not uncommon for maybe the eldest to have a more complicated relationship, especially if they're close with the mom, but all 4. It's hard to give advice when you don't know the root of the problem. What you've described is proper deep-seated loathing and a loathing shared by all 4 of your children. That on balance is not something they've just come up with or one has persuaded the others of. Something has caused that. Dude, it's interesting that you haven't once asked the girls or yourself why. I don't give a crap about your wedding. I give a crap that you don't seem to know your children at all or be curious as to why they feel this way. You're just so infatuated by this woman that you failed in your most important duty, being a father. For that, you are a massive idiot. I'm a 36 male, married to my wife, 34 female, for 10 years. My wife has a younger sister, 28 female, and we've always had a really close relationship. I think of her like my own sister, which is why this whole situation has thrown me off. So here's the deal. I find LinkedIn as a platform kind of cringe. I know it's supposed to be professional, but to me a lot of the posts come off as self-congratulatory or fake. Lately, my sister-in-law has been all over LinkedIn, posting non-stop about brand strategy and personal growth, which just doesn't sit well with me. She even got a top brand strategy badge and was really proud, sharing it in the family group chat like it was some huge achievement. But here's the kicker. She's not really trying to find a job right now. She's been living at home with her parents for a while, and as far as I can tell, she's not seriously looking for work. This has been a point of conversation between my wife and me in the past, and my wife has mentioned how her sister is slacking off, not putting in real effort to get her career going. We've had several discussions where my wife expressed frustration about her sister just coasting along without actually looking for a job, so I thought we were on the same page. When my sister-in-law shared her badge and the family hyped her up, I couldn't help but cringe a bit at it. So I messaged my wife separately saying something like, "This is so cringe and lame, ha ha ha." My wife just reacted with the laugh emoji, so I assumed she agreed and didn't think much of it. I never intended to bring it up to my sister-in-law directly. I didn't want to hurt her feelings or anything like that. I just thought it was a private conversation between me and my wife, who had previously said similar things. Later that day, my wife came home and completely blew up at me. She said I was being incredibly insensitive and that I shouldn't be mocking her sister, especially when she's trying her best. I was taken aback because, like I said, she's made the same comments before about how her sister isn't really making an effort. I apologised for the comment, but I also stood my ground and said I genuinely find these posts cringy, and it's not like I was going to say anything to her sister. My wife kept saying that it's still her sister and we should be supportive even if we think it's lame. She said I was being an idiot for making fun of her sister behind her back, but I felt like I was just venting in what I thought was a safe space with my wife. Now I'm starting to wonder if I crossed a line or if my wife's reaction was a bit over the top. Am I the idiot for calling my sister-in-law's LinkedIn post cringe in a private message to my wife, especially after she's made similar comments herself? Was it so cringe and lame that you had to immediately send a message to your wife about it, putting it in writing, instead of waiting for the end of the day when you're face-to-face to mention it if it comes up? You are the idiot. You were making fun of her sister behind her back. There's nothing that you need venting for. Nothing her sister did actually affects you in any way that you would need to vent about it. Part of using LinkedIn to find jobs is to literally boast about yourself to gain views and make connections. Your sister-in-law is using it correctly, even if it seems cringe to you. She may be in conversations with people on there about jobs that she hasn't shared. Or she isn't, but even then, your comments are rude and mean. And frankly, messaging your wife at the function about it is more lame than anything. Wait until after you guys leave to debrief and talk about it. I disagree, not the idiot. You were being honest with your wife in a private conversation. If you can't be honest with your wife, who can you be honest with? Was she not being honest with you earlier when she made her comments about her sister to you? She wasn't being very supportive then. That would make her a hypocrite. You're entitled to your own opinion about sister-in-law, and so is your wife. Sister-in-law on LinkedIn posing as some expert in a subject when it seems she has no actual or current experience in the area is wrong. She's a fraud. My cousin just got married for the second time. Her first marriage ended in a messy divorce after like a year and a half. She's kind of notorious in our family for rushing into things, and this new guy has only been around for a few months before they tied the knot. At the wedding reception, a few of us cousins were talking about how quickly everything happened again, and I kind of jokingly said, "How long do you think this one will last?" It got a few laughs, and before I knew it, people started throwing out guesses. 6 months, a year, 2 years, etc. It was all light-hearted at first, so I made it into an actual game, wrote down everyone's bets, and we all tossed some money into a pot. Everything was fine until one of my cousin's friends overheard what we were doing and told her about it. She freaked out, left her own reception early, and now the whole family's mad at me. They're saying it was disrespectful and that I ruined her day. But honestly, I didn't mean for it to go that far. We were just joking around and didn't think it would blow up like this. I feel bad, but at the same time, she does have a history of rushing into things. Am I the idiot? Yes, of course you're the idiot, and so is everyone who threw in bets. Sitting there eating her chicken, drinking her wine, and chatting crap about her is objectively not a cool move. Weddings are meant to be celebrations of love and commitment, not opportunities for cynical gambling. To add on to your excellent point, it went into a full game with everyone putting money down on it too. What a slap on the face to the new bride. I can't believe how Opie thinks he or she might not be the idiot here. Opie owes cousin and the rest of the family a really big apology. People like you always try to shift the focus in these situations. Regardless of my tactless idiocy and gall, the person I hurt has made mistakes too. See, in comparison to facts irrelevant to my actions, I can't be an idiot. It's by comparison. No, idiot, it's not. You came here knowing you were being a terrible, disrespectful person, hoping that other people would share your condescending judgment about your cousin as if it excused you being a raging idiot. You are the idiot, and you know it.